Hey you guys, AJ here. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing good. In our previous video, we saw how we can drop items from the inventory onto the game scene just like this. And in this video, we are gonna finally start on working with our stackable items. So we are gonna have a small image over here showing the number of items that is stored in the inventory slot. And in case of non-stackable items, we are just gonna hide it or set it to deactive. For the stackable items, we are gonna make some changes in our code, break our code a little bit, but we will fix them in this video. And this is not going to be the video in which we incorporate the complete stackable items, but this is going to be start to it, and hopefully we can finish off in the next video. And without further ado, let's get started. So first thing, we are going to go to the inventory slot prefab, and under the inventory item, we are going to add a UI image. And let's corner it to the right bottom. So I'm just gonna set the position to 0, 0. Let's set the width and height to 75. And on the pivot, I'm gonna say 1 on X and 0 on Y. Okay. Now I'm gonna choose an image. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use this knob which comes with the Unity, and I'm just gonna set the color to black. Now let's add a text mesh pro and maybe add some text. I'm just gonna say 99. That's gonna be the limit of a limited item. Particular item can be stored in the same slot. Now let's say put it in the middle, and maybe make it bold and give it a reddish kind of color. Okay, and also let's stretch this text mesh pro across the image. So I just want to set all left, top, right and bottom to 0, and yeah, all good. And now let's just hit play and see if it isn't messed up. So yeah, now all the slots have a image UI. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set it to inactive so that we can switch it on again when the item is stackable. Here in the player inventory, we have an item array. So this can just take the item or a null. It doesn't take a number. It doesn't take the number of items. So let's change that. We are gonna create a structure here, and it's gonna be public. Let's call this inventory slot. And we are not gonna have a array of item, we are gonna now have an array of inventory slot. And inventory slot is gonna have an item. Let's make that public. And it is gonna have a number. So it has kind of broken a lot of stuff. So here in a way, let's remove this. We don't want our inventory to open up with items anymore. That was just to show you in that particular lecture that we can actually have items in the inventory when we start the game. So now here slots equal to new item inventory size. I'm just going to change it to new inventory slot inventory size. Now here in the get item from slot method, we don't want to get the slot anymore because that slot doesn't just contain the item, it contains a number as well. So here we are just going to add a slots of slot dot item so that we get the item from that slot. And in the remove from slot method, we are gonna need to add another integer number which represents the number of items in the slot. And each time we call this method, we are gonna reduce the number of items in that slot by this number we passed down here. So lots of slot dot number minus equal to number. Then we are gonna go ahead and check if the the number of items in that slot is less than or equal to 0. So slots of slot dot number is less than or equal to 0, and if it is so, then we are gonna set the item in that slot to null. Here we are gonna add item dot item equal to null, and we are gonna also just set the number to 0 to be safe. So slots of slot dot number equals 0. Here again, in the add item to slot method, we are gonna get that number of items that we wanna add to a particular slot. So we are gonna add a field here and number. Here, instead of checking slots of slot not equal to null, we are gonna check slots of slot dot item not equal to null, and we are gonna pass in the item as well as the number. And here we are gonna add the item to item and increase the number of items by the number we passed down here. And here in the add to first empty slot, we are now gonna also take a number, and here we are gonna add the item to slot of I dot item and add the number to the slots of I dot number. Now here in the find empty slot, we are again not gonna check slots of I, we are gonna check slots of I dot item is null or not. And so we have fixed all the errors on this script. Now in the inventory slot script, where we have the remove item and add items, we already have a number here which we didn't use, so we are gonna just use that and send it to our remove from slot method as well as the add item to slot method. And in doing so, the errors in this script is fixed as well. Now we have an error is in the pickup script in the add to first empty slot method, where we call the add to first empty slot method. So here we need to pass in a number as well. So in the pickup script, I'm gonna add a field integer number, and I'm just gonna set it to 1 as a default. And in the setup method, where we have the item, where we get the item, we are gonna add a new parameter in number. So we are gonna be sending in a number to this method as well and set it up here. So if we go to the item script, we kind of already have a boolean stackable, so we are gonna make use of that. And here we are gonna say item dot is stackable, which is a method we have in the item script that returns stackable. And this is something we have already made in a previous video, so go ahead and check that out if you have not seen that video. And here we are just gonna say if it is not stackable, we are gonna have the number as 1, else we are gonna say this dot number equal to number. So in doing this, we are just basically setting up this number with this number, and here we can pass down that number. Now we got a error in the item script where we called the setup because we added a parameter number for that. So we are just gonna add a number here as well. And let's say this spawn pickup method is gonna have another parameter number. Let's just remove this debug. I just use that for testing. Now the pickup spawner and the item dropper are the two places where we use the spawn pickup method, and we got an error on these because we added a extra parameter number on that method. So here we're just gonna add a number, and we are gonna add an extra field. In number and set it to 1 as default. And in the item dropper, let's say the spawn pickup method has another parameter number, and we are gonna pass in this number. And again, in the drop item method, we got an error when we call the spawn pickup method. So let's add a number here and pass in that number. Now let's say go to definition, find all references, and go to the place where we call the drop item method, which is in our inventory drop target. And here in add items, we already got a number, so we can just use that to call that method on the item dropper. And I guess we are all good now. So guys, we are finally able to make our character move around in the game scene without any compilation errors, and we can still pick these items up. Let's say we pick one more. Yeah, and we can drop these items onto the scene. That's working fine. We are able to move these around, and we can swap them. So everything we had before is still working. And I think this video has gone on too long already, so I'm just gonna stop it right here, and we will come back and make the numbers we have in our inventory slot right here. The 99, which doesn't really mean anything right now because we set it up in Unity. But in the next video, we are gonna make some changes in the code and make these numbers tell the number of items tagged in that inventory slot. And for unstackable items, we are just gonna hide it, which is kind of the default. So nothing to do there. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. That would be really helpful. Until next time, see ya, bye.